We see the banking of the breaking swipe, the pivot into Excadrill. The opponent goes to the classic you switch, I switch. The opponent probably thinking with the first Mud Slapper out the way, Dialga's free to roam. Well, unfortunately, Dialga, today is not going to be your day. Welcome back to the channel. Today, normal service has resumed with me shoutcasting some Go Battle League content. Before we get into today's video, yesterday I uploaded a video talking about the numerous issues Pokemon Go PvP faces currently. Of course, this week accessibility is high up on that list, but I also addressed some things such as lag, glitches, etc. If you haven't already seen the video, check it out, show it as much support as you physically can. The more of you that show support, the more likely Niantic are to take note of it. It currently already has around 150 comments. Keep up the good work, guys. However, that's enough housekeeping. Today, we have an incredible battle submission from a fellow trainer named Finn. This Finn, much like me, Jamie Finn, is loving his triple shadows. We have a full shadow team running rampant in the Open Master League. We've got the double Mud Slappers in the back with a lead of Dragonite to cover, of course, that ever annoying bulky blue whale that neither of them want to see. We're going to keep the intro short and sweet. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. Today's team is a standard ABB team. For those of you not familiar with an ABB team, our type A is Dragonite. Our two B types are something that share a weakness. Speaking of which, we see that weakness enter the battlefield. So in all leads where you don't see the water type or potential fighter in the lead, we're going to say switch into one of our B types, looking to bait it out. We can then send back out Dragonite, clear that threat, allowing our second B type to hopefully clear the back line. That's the theory. Let's see if we can execute it in battle number one. That mid-game matchup was so quick, Finn does need to be mindful that his Dragonite will be temporarily switch locked when Togekiss does return. However, as I say that, Finn shows absolute brilliant gameplay IQ, intentionally stop attacking to allow his switch timer to call off, meaning Dragonite does not get potentially switch locked against that Togekiss. We see the instant pivot into Rhyperior. The opponent takes an absolute eternity before sending out Necrozma and the Investor Protect Shield, which certainly opens up the door for a potential win con. Rhyperior gets that full Mud Slap farm down. Finn farms up to the double Rock Wrecker. So even if the opponent shields this first move, which they do, the second Rock Wrecker will be knocking this pesky Charmer out of the skies. A very well played game. GG's and thanks for playing. This is actually the first time I've ever featured battles from Finn. And if battle number one's anything to go by, we are in for a treat. In the next battle, we see a slightly negative lead into Metagross. We see the save switch into Rhyperior. Once again, the ABB trap working perfectly, baiting out Kyogre. I really like that play from Finn. Full send the Rock Wrecker and punish a no shield. We managed to obtain ourselves a shield advantage here in the mid game. And we're going to send out Dragonite to delete this Kyogre. That Surf actually has quite a lot of damage. So Finn's got two choices here. He can go for the one shield, farm all the way down, or throw the Dragon Claw before the next Surf's reached. He opts for the Dragon Claw, and we are spamming the switch. Out comes Excadrill. Metagross continues to stay in. Oh, baby trainer, are you weak in the back? The opponent goes for the Meteor Mash bait, but no bait. We'll be saving this Metagross's fate as they're unable to reach another move. The opponent's final Pokemon is Necrozma, and we already know this is going to be game over. The first drill run forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second one is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. That is back-to-back battles where we lost lead, was hard punished on the save switch, but Finn beautifully displaying how an ABB team is supposed to work and pulling off two huge dubs. In the next battle, Finn hard wins lead. The opponent save switches into Dialga. We hard punish it with Rhyperior and the opponent instantly top lefts. Don't do that. Don't be crying about the algorithm. We've already seen Finn was hard punished twice on the save switch and still able to overcome that battle. If you've got a defeatist attitude like that, I don't think this game's for you. However, that's a completely different talking point. In the next battle, we see more of a neutral lead with Dragonite into Rhyperior. The opponent invests a poor Protect Shield, shielding up an obvious Dragon Claw. The opponent then goes to the Breaking Swipe, which Finn knows he easily survives. We then save switch into Rhyperior, baiting out Togekiss. Togekiss down a Protect Shield, going to be in for a pretty rough day of it. Finn fires off the Rock Wrecker, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. This is only an ancient power. Finn thinking he's going to be able to survive and still reach the Rock Wrecker, and indeed he is. Togekiss goes down a Protect Shield and still loses the mid game. Get that Togekiss off my screen. Back out comes the opposing Rhyperior, and we've already got this thing down to around a third health. Finn sends back out Dragonite with a 2-0 shield advantage and looks to shield up the Breaking Swipe. We then see the aggressive pivot into Excadrill, and out comes Garchomp. Holy cow, look at this mud shot damage. Finn could shield this mood up, or he could let it go. He's going to opt to shield up. The opponent full send the Earth Power. Finn going to return fire with the Drill Run. Drill Run won't quite be lethal, but will leave the opponent low. The opponent looking for that Mud Shot farm down, which we're unable to get. Back out comes Rhyperior, Excadrill, reaches the next Drill Run, and we're able to emerge victorious. GG's. That huge boom on that pesky Togekiss in the mid game was an absolute beauty. Heading into the next battle, we see Dragonite into Excadrill. The opponent safe switches into Walrein. What a pick and what a core breaker. However, stat product plays a big difference in this battle. The opponent hitting us for super effective the entirety of the time, but Rhyperior dwarfs Walrein's stat product. This is essentially the issue with the Little Cup currently. Shuckle just dwarfs everything in regards to stat product. The opponent insta through their next Icicle Sphere as well, which of course is a massive mistake, giving Rhyperior a full free Mud Slap. Rhyperior fires off the next Breaking Swipe and able to win the one shield scenario. Oof, out comes another huge core breaker. Waterfall Primarina is probably the worst thing this team can see. We opt to send out Dragonite because Dragon does resist water, but their sub-fairy typing means our Dragon Breaths are going to be double resisted. Finn no shields to disarming voice. We see the pivot into Excadrill. The opponent goes to the classic U-switch, I-switch, and we might actually have a chance here. Excadrill going to be looking for that one shield. Fully Mud Slap farm down. We need to leave healthy enough to survive 2 waterfalls. We're now at the double. Does that next waterfall knock us out? I don't think so. Excadrill able to withstand the damage, but the question is this Drill Run enough to knock out? There is no shot. I cannot believe we won that game. Very, very well played. GG's, buddy. Heading into the next battle, we see Shadow Dragonite into the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death Master League Edition. Typing advantage very much with us. However, Shadow Dragonite doesn't tank a Brave Bird whatsoever. Finn strikes first with the Dragon Claw. Are we going to look for the one shield and farm down? Finn actually like, nah. The opponent isn't going to have Ho-Oh and Kyogre. Let's hope not. The opponent continues to stay in, allowing us the full Mud Slap farm down and then send out Palkia. Rhyperior certainly going to be favoured in this matchup, especially with a huge energy lead, as the second Breaking Swipe with the additional Mud Slap damage will be threatening the knockout. The opponent invests that Protect Shield. Then fire off the Aqua Tower. Absolutely atrocious fast move timing, giving us a free Mud Slap. We then see the Breaking Swipe banked. The pivot into Excadrill. Another opponent goes to the classic U-switch, I-switch. The opponent probably thinking with the Mud Slap out the way, Dialga is free to roam in the back. Well, unfortunately for you, trainer, this Dialga is going to have a very bad day. We farm up. Leave with the charge move. The opponent forced to dump their Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail removes us from the field of play. We've got the Breaking Swipe bank, but Finn, recognising the energy draw, goes for the quicker play of taking the Mud Slap farm down, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see a neutral Battle of Dragons in the lead. We say switch into Rhyperior, and again we bait out something our second B-type doesn't want to see. I haven't seen a Groudon in Master League in forever. Despite the typing advantage, being with the opponent, Rhyperior, an absolute monster in the Master League, more than holding its own and actually able to force a protection in the mid game. Once again, we see Finn stop attacking, and that will be intentional, as he knows that his Dragonite's going to fully wall this Groudon, and he just wants to get an energy lead. Getting an energy lead on Dragonite will kind of force the opponent to show their third, as Zekrom only has one Protect Shield to hide behind, and they're not going to want to tank a Dragon Claw. The opponent does indeed send out their third, which is revealed to be Lugia. Dragonite fires off the Dragon Claw. Lugia has a stat product of over 10,000, which is absurd, and these Dragon Claws really aren't doing much. Big bad bulky Lugia tanks both Dragon Claws. We then see the pivot into Excadrill. The opponent banks their energy and then send out Zekrom. Finn goes for the undercharge in case the opponent opts to no shield. The opponent invests their final Protect Shield. Finn gonna shield in return, blocking up the crunch. Can we leave with the Rock Slide? We haven't quite got the Rock Slide bank, but the opponent allows us to reach it. Rock Slide has been nerfed this season, but Excadrill hits pretty hard and Rock Slide is going to pick up the dub. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Dragonite into Zygarde. Oh, I hate this Pokemon. A Pokemon Yasa calls Optimus Prime for obvious reasons. Finn stays in, gonna fire off the Dragon Claw. You can see the bulk on this thing. That was supposed to be super effective, but they're still at around half health, despite tanking multiple Dragon Breaths in the process. We say switch into Rhyperior. The opponent fires off the crunch, and out comes Groudon. I'd love to know what this opponent does against a Waterfall Primarina. Probably cry. We've already seen this matchup isn't too bad for Rhyperior whatsoever. It can more than hold its own, especially when the opponent goes for Fire Punch baits. I think that Fire Punch actually healed us. I'm not even sure this next Fire Punch is going to knock out. Nope, it does not. Rhyperior able to withstand the damage and reach one further Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe gets the opponent down to round a third health. Switch Timer pops up. We see the attempted snipe. With the Dragon Breath farm down, the opponent save Groudon at a sliver of HP, send out Melmetal, we land the superpower, boom, and Melmetal is depleted of almost all its HP. This is actually a legacy double Iron Bash Melmetal as well. Interesting. Apparently this opponent doesn't like fairy types. We send out Excadrill. We're of course going to have to respect a potential superpower. The opponent again baits with the double Iron Bash, perhaps on double Iron Bash and Rock Slide. Although what the hell does that Melmetal do against a potential Steel type? Back out comes Optimus Prime. Finn unwilling to shield up the crunch. The opponent get the defense shot. Then try their luck catching onto Groudon. Finn like nah. Holds his energy. Leaves with the double charge move. Drill Run. Forces the Protect Shield. The opponent is so low that Finn gonna give him that bad manners Rock Slide for the dub. Get that Optimus Prime off my screen. Let's go. Beautifully played game. In the next battle, we see a potentially good lead if the opponent is opting for Mud Slap. We actually instant pivot into Rhyperior. As we're on an ABB team, we're always going to look to pivot, but I would have personally stayed in just to check the quick move. The opponent answers our Rhyperior save switch with Giratina. Giratina going to be in for a pretty rough day of it, as Rhyperior going to do what Rhyperior does best and spam out Breaking Swipe after Breaking Swipe. I believe we actually went 0-2 on attack drops there, although I could be wrong because I shoutcast on my phone and it's quite hard to read the messages. The opponent stops attacking, trying to get clever, giving us less farm on Dragonite, but that is going to cost them as Rhyperior are able to reach the next Breaking Swipe and we're able to flip switch on its head. Of course, Finn definitely going to take the option to realign his Pokemon as Dragonite will be taking double super effective from the Powder Snow damage. Are we going to see Finn attempt the double shield and Mud Slap farm down? I'm not sure we're going to make it. Finn banks a boatload of energy, snipes with Dragonite. The opponent's final Pokemon is a smackdown Tyranitar. Tyranitar going to be forced to shield up the double super effective superpower. Superpower forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and this is going to come down to a charge attack priority event. Apparently Excadrill has a higher attack stat than Godzilla. Godzilla gets one shot by the Drill Run and we're able to take that game. Every day is a school day when you play Pokemon Go PvP. So I actually just looked up that attack stat. Tyranitar has a 223 attack compared to Excadrill's 226. Excadrill will always be winning that charge attack priority if both Pokemon are fully maxed out at level 50. In the next battle we see some Shadow on Shadow Crime with Shadow Dragonite into Rhyperior. We opt to insta-throw the Dragon Claw, which I think is quite a risky play, as we could potentially give the opponent a full free Mud Slap if they look to farm up to a potential Rock Wrecker. However, I guess Finn knows that most Rhyperior will be just looking to spam out Breaking Swipe as soon as they get it. We eventually see the save switch into Rhyperior once again, baiting out the ever-annoying bulky blue whale. The opponent shows no respect for the Rock Wrecker, which they're actually able to withstand, which is quite surprising, as Rock Wrecker is a Blast Burn clone, so a very hard-hitting move. I guess that shows you just how bulky Kyogre is. Finn sent back out Dragonite, fired off the Dragon Claw, denying Kyogre of its energy. The opponent's final Pokemon is Yveltal, and I think this one is going to end in defeat. Finn going to shield up the Dark Pulse, but I don't really see a wink on it. Although hold up, the opponent tries to make a catch for no reason whatsoever. Can we reach the double Rock Slide? And if we can, is Rock Slide going to be enough to knock out? I don't think so, as Rock Slide has been nerfed. I guess we're never going to find out, as we get Sucker Punch farm down and we take a heartbreaking loss. In the next battle, we see the mirror lead. However, we've got the Shadow, and the opponent actually opting for Dragon Tail over Dragon Breath. I think Dragon Breath is preferred just for its one-turn flexibility. Whereas using a 3-turn move, you kind of can get stuck in the animation. However, this battle was a prime example of sometimes where a 3-turn move can be advantageous. Finn tried to trap the opponent into a CMP tie, and they actually just took the extra Dragon Tail. Finn save switched into Rhyperior, shielded up the superpower, and was then hard punished in theory by a Groudon, but we've seen this matchup isn't too bad for Rhyperior. It does put in work. We actually see the opponent invest a Protect Shield on a Breaking Swipe. We manage to get the attack drop. The opponent then goes for a very silly bait. Bit of a strange play pattern from this opponent. We fire off the next break-in swipe. We then snipe Groudon's remaining HP with Dragonite. The opponent sends out their own Dragonite, recognise they're going to get farmed down, and send out Mewtwo to get a very cheeky running start. But the issue for this Mewtwo is Mewtwo doesn't really function without Protect Shields remaining. Finn sends back out Rhyperior, getting off as much Mud Slap damage as he physically can, potentially putting this Mewtwo in a 1-move range for Excadrill. Excadrill is going to have to no-shield this move, as of course Superpower would be the move that would do the most damage. The opponent fire off the Side Strike. Side Strike does far too much damage. We see Finn continue to farm up energy, and I think we had to throw there, as the opponent does have a move banked on Dragonite, and even if we had a move banked, Dragonite has a higher attack stat than Excadrill, and regardless, the game would end in the same way, with the opponent superpowering us to the face. GG to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Palkia in the lead. Finn opts to stay in, looks to fire off the Dragon Claw. We end up playing to a CMP tie, so this can only be an Aqua Tail, as Dragon Claw and Aqua Tail both cost 35 energy. Finn withstands the damage, returns fire with his Dragon Claw, forcing us an early shield advantage. We then see the pivot into Rhyperior. The opponent again attempt to force a charge attack priority event, but Finn like, nah, Rhyperior loses that charge attack priority, and I'm committing to that Mud Slap farm down. The opponent not wanting to get Mud Slap farmed all the way down. Send out Necrozma. Trainer, honestly, this cannot be your best response. Finn full sent the Rock Wrecker, looking to do maximum damage, and he actually forced the opponent's final Protect Shield. Finn putting all his hopes and dreams on a 1-shielded Excadrill. Excadrill gonna go for that 1-shield. Full Mud Slap farm down. We need to be mindful the opponent could potentially look to catch back onto that low health Palkia. They actually just send out Palkia for no reason whatsoever, and then send out Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh going to be greeted with the double super effective Rock Slide. Rock Slide isn't enough to knock out. We send out Dragonite. We're able to Dragon Breath farm down just about and take a very close game. A really poor misplay from that opponent. They should have just sent out Ho-Oh and looked to start incinerating away. In the next battle, we see that Master League, a Firebird of Death in the lead position. Dragonite not too bad in this matchup. We do lose the 0 shield scenario. Last time we saw this in the lead, Finn fully sacked his lead. This time he opts to invest to Protect Shield. The opponent forced themselves a shield advantage, then send out Dialga. We can survive an Iron Head, so I'm anticipating the no shield. The opponent fire off the Iron Head. Excadrill able to withstand the damage, just about able to Mud Slap farm down if Ho-Oh does return. We could fire off 1 Mud Slap and the Rock Slide, as we wouldn't actually take the Incinerate damage, as that wouldn't register until turn 4, and Mud Slap of course is a free turn move. With the current game state and potential 1-turn bring in, I don't dislike him just spamming the move, guaranteeing getting the move off. We then see him make a savage Brave Bird catch back onto Rhyperior. The opponent shows us Mewtwo, then gracefully concede the match. In the next battle, we see the mirror lead once again, with the opponent running Dragon Tail. Last time Finn looked to throw instantly and the opponent took the extra. Of course this time he does an instant throw and the opponent does spam the move as soon as they get it. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. We then see a simultaneous swap with advantage very much in Finn's favour, as the opponent sends out Necrozma. We correctly shield up the Sunsteel Strike, fully Mud Slap farm down, back out comes Dragonite. We've got the double break-in swipe bank. The first one goes unshielded. Finn able to get the double resisted Mud Slap farm down, and out comes Zekrom. This is going to be G to the G. Rhyperior so far ahead in energy. The opponent shields up the first break-in swipe. Finn fires off 1 further Mud Slap and the next break-in swipe. The next break-in swipe forces the opponent's final protection. We send out Excadrill, which is going to be able to survive a crunch. Crunch does some reasonable chip damage, but they're not going to be able to Dragon Breath farm us down afterwards. We reach the Drill Run, and Drill Run is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Shadow Rhyperior going absolutely Super Saiyan mode in that battle, running rampant. In the next battle, we see the mirror lead, but the opponent running a Sacrilege Purified Pokemon. Finn, you cannot lose to a Purified Pokemon. Do not let me down, buddy. We strike first, firing off the Dragon Claw, winning CMP. Finn, thinking about it, actually just going to take his shield advantage. We now send out Rhyperior. Rhyperior farms up, looks to fire off the Dragon Claw before the opponent potentially reaches a superpower, but we end up playing to the CMP tie. We do not win. Shout out Home Slice Henry for that quote. Finn goes for the undercharge, wanting to get an energy lead, getting the double resisted Mud Slap farm down. The undercharge is a beauty, and we get a very nice Mud Slap farm down. Out comes Mewtwo. There's no bait, and we full send the Rock Wrecker. Rock Wrecker! Boo, go shielded. We then see the pivot into Excadrill. The opponent banks, I believe, 7 Psycho Cuts worth of energy, so they're definitely not doubled up on charge moves before sending out Charm Primarina. But Primarina, so slow to charge moves, unable to force our final Protect Shield. Back out comes Mewtwo. We shield up the Side Strike, return fire with the Drill Run, and that is going to be all she wrote. With Excadrill vanquishing Mewtwo back to its Pokeball. And unfortunately, that is going to end today's showcase. Huge shout out to Finn, putting on a clinic of how to successfully run an ABB team, as well as showcasing a very fun, very destructive Triple Shadow team here in the Open Master League. It's always a pleasure to shoutcast a team without a legendary Pokemon inside. Of course, Triple Shadows aren't that accessible for everyone. It's very hard to get the correct IVs required to fully power them up to level 50. However, if you have these 3 Pokemon in their regular forms, they'll more than put in work. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.